but again with that David Blaine twist.
Oh yeah, David Blaine. I kind of love that. I didn't even think about it.
David Blaine twist. He's like a little lemon. You squeeze and you drop in your little movie juice. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cassette Take, where you can eject wherever you want, but please don't forget to rewind. I'm Ethan.
I'm Annmarie.
And Annmarie. For our first trick, what did we go see?
We just got out of scene Now You See Me 3, Now You Don't. I butchered that.
Is there a 3 in the title?
No, it's not. It's Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which is a great title.
Yeah, honestly, if it was not called that, if it's anything else, they would have not gotten my ticket money.
Honestly, they wouldn't get in mine either.
Yeah,
So
honestly, would that have affected the box office?
bah.
At time of recording, we don't know. But at time of release of this podcast, maybe. I don't know.
I'll put it in there. I'll put it in there.
Yeah, so we just got out seeing Now You See Me, Now You Don't, aka Now You See Me 3. These movies, I'm personally, they've shown up in my life here and there. I think you and Cheyenne are the ones that really introduced me to these movies years ago.
Yeah, we have a friend that loves this trilogy so much. And so I kind of went to go see it because I wanted to see her reaction more than anything, which, let's be honest, it's kind of the most fun when you get to go with a friend and you're like, I just want to see their reaction to this. And yeah, I've seen the first one, I've seen the second one. I really do enjoy them. I love that this one in particular, it's just so self-aware of itself. Dude, they're like, we're superheroes because really, they're magician superheroes in this film.
Yeah, and, throughout just about all the 3 of these movies, it's basically just fun, stupid, silly magic.
Campy.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what we're here for. It's like the magic equivalent of a Godzilla movie, or at least oh gosh, what's the company? Is it Warner Brothers behind the Godzilla verse, the
Yeah.
Monsterverse? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically the equivalent of that. It's just the popcorn. You want to see some two big boys fight on the big screen. This is basically the same thing, but more of the David Blaine kind of version of it.
Do you want to see people get hypnotized and escape things? This is your movie.
Yeah, and honestly though, I think this one had a little more Uncharted elements in
A
it.
little bit more magic.
A little bit more, like puzzle solving, a little more intricacy with some of the items
I
in it.
feel like very National Treasures with this one. That's the one where I was like, oh, it's kind of like Natural Treasures in a way. So
Yeah, and just to give everyone a quick rundown, the plot of this movie, it's basically the Horsemen, the original four, back together again. That's revealed in the trailer, so blah blah blah. But now we got 3 new additions played by Ariana Greenblatt,
Justice Smith.
Justice Smith, and then blanking on his name, but he was in that one Oscar-nominated movie for best. Was it
Licorice Pizza?
no, well, maybe, but no, not that one. The one with the
I have no
Flash.
idea.
It was like,
His name was Bosco, and all I kept thinking was Bosco sticks. And I was like, Amory's hungry for some Bosco sticks now.
oh, we need some Bosco sticks now. There we
But
go.
they're really, this is the thing. I will say this. It gave very much Jurassic World Dominion vibes, where I felt like there was too many characters in this film.
That was what I was afraid of when we were going into it. I saw the trailer, and I'm like, are you sure you want to go into a movie with this many main characters?
Mm-hmm.
Because really, there's so many of them, and not including the ones that we know, and then the new ones, and then there's some more that come throughout the movie, which we won't reveal, but it's just like, okay, now we have more, now we have more. Oh, there's another one, but honestly, I think the Horseman is kind of its own main character. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, think of it as one character. It's just these are these different personalities playing within that character. And once you view it like that, I think it really works and everyone has like an equal role to play. And it's balanced out here fairly well.
That's so interesting that you're kind of looking at it that way, as like the Horseman is just one entity. I guess I didn't really look at that. I felt like it worked because they did break them up into little like character arcs and everything. But towards the end, I felt like the focus was unfortunately on the new horsemen instead of the old ones, which I was kind of disappointed in just because I felt like, oh, that's kind of who I wanted to see. I kind of had a feeling that they were going to set up like the new class, basically.
Yeah, that's why I kind of figured as well. By the way, Dominic Sessa
Yeah.
from The Holdovers, that's the movie I was thinking of.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, holdover.
There were a few movies he's been in recently since The Holdovers, but The Holdovers is the one I recognize him first and foremost from.
Yes.
Anyway, so those three are jumping in here as well, and yeah, it's just such an interesting dynamic all these characters do have with each other.
I like how they all have their own little unique thing. Dave Franco is good at cards, and these new guys, one of them is just like the tech guy. Ariana is the steel jewel thief person.
Lockpick.
Yeah, oh, there you go. I know, I'm trying to think of, like, what do you call them in, like, D&D, like, their, like, own little verses or I don't know, what am I saying?
I have no idea when you brought up the end, like, where he.
Like, the when you pick your character and you're like, "This is my class.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
class warlock."
Yeah, no, no. She's like a lockpick,
Yeah.
pickpocket kind of character.
I like that they have their own little thing. I think that makes them a little bit more unique, and that way you can, like, separate them a little bit more, so it'd be like, "Oh, it's just Dave Franco 2.0, like, it's something different."
Yeah, and again, that's part of why I was afraid of. It was gonna be like just simple, oh, let's replace them and maybe they might be dying off, one by one or something like that.
Yeah.
And, it's so interesting to see it play out that way. And for a lot of this movie, I think something that is the most intelligent aspect. I mean, you and I both agree these movies are silly, dumb fun for the most part, but something that's very clever about it is the choreography and the cinematography to pair with that choreography. Now, when I say choreography, you're probably thinking of like, what is this, like a musical? Is there dance sequences? No. It's more of like how the camera's positioned and how each actor's moving throughout a scene during a certain trick or a certain situation to make those illusions, those magic tricks really work and pay off by the time that they're revealed. So it's very well done. I've always been really enamored by those scenes when they're playing in like a seemingly one shot take. And making a film itself is kind of a magic trick within itself. So seeing it play out here with professionals doing that, viewing professionals doing that at the same time, I think is truly a little match made in heaven there.
There's a certain scene, a fight scene halfway through the movie, and I really like that because they use different aspects to make it more unique. Ethan knows what I'm talking about, and I'm trying not to spoil it, but I really like that part of it too. Yeah, it is camp and it is fun, and I do enjoy these films for that. I think at some points though, I was like frustrated because Ethan can totally tell you. I was like raising my hands and cracking up laughing at certain points because it was so goofy. There was like a certain point where I was like, did I every time I see a Now You See Me movie, I'm like, did I fall asleep during a scene and I just missed it? Every time, without fail.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think as we were talking out of the theater, there might have been like a couple things that you missed that we kind of like went over. It's like, oh no, that wasn't the case here.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, that makes sense. But yeah, no, there's a decent amount of like, oh, well, that's just dumb. but it works enough to where you understand these types of movies going into them. It's like, okay, I'll give you a pass on this, because it's got that level of suspense and disbelief that is consistent throughout these
The rubber
movies.
band?
Yeah, that rubber band that Tarantino keeps talking about, with suspense, and, I more so use it with suspense and disbelief. I
Mhm.
know when he brought it up, it was more about general thriller suspense kinda thing, but, yeah, here, I think that suspense and disbelief really is consistent. Unlike Running Man, which we saw the other day, where it's consistent throughout most of the movie, but towards the 3rd act, it does get a little more inconsistent with that suspense of disbelief,
Mhm.
and it's like, "Oh, that's how you're going about that," and it causes you to stop and think about that
Mhm.
rather than, like, go with that flow, and here, it's consistent, and it does it so well, and I really give this movie a nod for that.
I'm so glad you brought up Running Man because it kinda does go hand in hand in a sense where it is kind of You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit for those movies, and I'm so glad you brought that up because it makes me think of some other movies too, because I always think Now You See Me is kinda like Knives Out, National Treasures, Night at the Museum, like, those movies that are just more I'm trying to think of the right word to say, not action-packed, but more like adventure films, and so I felt like this movie was that.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think that this is definitely going to be one that performs well at the box
Oh
office.
my god, our theater was packed.
Oh, yeah, truly. And it was packed so much that we got quite a diverse selection of characters, including the great fragrance of a marijuana
And
throughout this theater.
standing up 3 times during the movie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't wanna judge nobody that's going into a movie theater. Everyone goes in for different reasons, for forms of escapism. But man, when you go into a movie theater and you're paying your money to see it and you're drinking like 3, 5 beers and, obviously reeking of a fine cologne and fragrance, if you will, maybe you shouldn't be going on a Friday night to the movie theater for one that is going to be packed.
Yeah, I just can't believe this movie was packed. I'm so excited to see the box office numbers.
See, a lot of people didn't think that this movie was gonna perform all that well. I'm like,
That's me. I did not think it was gonna
guys, what
perform.
are you talking about? I've seen this cult following develop for these movies throughout the years. And, not only with our friend group, but just over time with the general movie going audience, it's been developing. I've been seeing these more and more clips from the movie coming up on, Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all of them. And it's just like people, I'm sure during COVID, there
Mhm.
with a lot of people wanting to, watch their own movies here and there and, taking the time to catch up on stuff. A lot of people really do enjoy these movies. Like I said, it's got that popcorn movie Godzilla monsterverse effect where people just go to see big creatures smash stuff and fight each other, right? Here, same thing, but again with that David Blaine twist.
Oh, yeah, David Blaine.
Yeah.
Wait, I kinda love that. I didn't even think about
David Blaine twist. He's like a little lemon. You squeeze and you drop in your little movie juice. Wait, never mind.
Wait,
Hang on.
let me
Mr. Blaine, I'll take you out to dinner first. I'm
oh
sorry.
god. I still like the second one a lot more, and I think the second one has one of the most unique scenes of all time because it is that card trick scene where they were passing the cards to each other, and I was kinda hoping there was something like that in this film. I don't really feel that way. I still think the second one's better, but it's not a bad entry, I will say.
I think they leaned into the vibe of that type of trick throughout the movie where it's like, oh, people love the card trick scene. And there's moments and tricks throughout the movie where they play into that style. Maybe not as intensely so as that scene specifically
Mhm.
from the second one, but I feel like they realized this is what people like, so let's do something along the lines of it. Whether or not that, they weren't able to do it in that exact same vein, I'm not sure as to why. Because there's one trick throughout this movie or during this movie, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's their equivalence of it, but didn't feel that way. But
I
you see that they were trying to do something like it.
Yeah, I totally remember. I know what you're talking about, and I felt like in that moment it wasn't really yeah, I felt like they're like, we have to up this scene from the last movie," and it just didn't work for me as well, but do you think, without any spoilers, is this it for our horsemen?
Oh my gosh, no. No.
It's like the Knives Out effect where you're like, We can continue doing this for a very long time.'"
Again, without giving anything away, I think there's a lot ahead of this franchise, that they're waiting to see how it performs at the box office, of course. But again, based on this theatrical experience we went to, we had a packed theater. This is going to do very well at the box office. I think it's a devout cult following this franchise has. And once it performs well, you're going to see all these announcements, coming out about like, all right, here's a game plan for the next, Now You See Me movie, and like it's already in development and all that. So, and this movie itself, I think, is a good entry into the franchise. I think it delivered exactly what it needed to deliver, and I think people are gonna be satisfied with it. So there's a hunger for these types of movies, and, it's up to, what is it Paramount behind this one?
Oh gosh, I'm ooh, you're putting me on the spot. I think it is. I would be interested to see another one. I think this will perform well. We'll see on Monday, of course, but I really hope that this does do well because they're so much fun. They're just so like superhero magicians. We all need that in our world. So
Yeah, exactly. And, it's Lionsgate, by the way. So Lionsgate. Yeah, and, Lionsgate, when it comes to these types of movies with choreography, between John
Mhm.
Wick and Ballerina and then, now these movies, it's just kind of like they're really good at whoever they have, for the choreographers, stunt team, and all that.
Mhm.
By the way, the stunts in this movie, was really having a blast with, just even though some of them it's like, oh, yeah, it's stuff you've seen before, just the execution of it blended with the camera work. I don't know, a lot of it just kind of really stood out to me.
I'm gonna say one word, and hopefully it doesn't spoil anything, but Inception, and it was so cool in this. So I love it.
Yeah. But now, Amory, the true trick here is to reveal our score. Now, out of 10 decks of cards,
Not Bosco sticks.
no, that you we're gonna stop to get some Bosco sticks
I'm
after
really
this.
hungry.
Not brought to you by Bosco. But out of 10 decks of cards, how many would you give this movie out of 10?
I think it's not my favorite entry. It's probably my third favorite entry. And so it doesn't do I try to come into this film knowing it's gonna be campy and silly. And that's what it was, exactly. And so I think I have to give it a 7 because I did enjoy it. And it's funny to me because I did get frustrated with the movie, but that's what the movie's supposed to make you do. And so I'm only giving it a 7 because in my head, the second one is much better. It's like an 8 in my head. And so I think that's a fair score to give it. It's not the best one, but I still came out happy and enjoyed it.
Yeah, and by the way, this movie is directed by Ruben Fleischer, who, if you don't recognize that, it's why we bring up Uncharted. He directed the Uncharted movie.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so I'm like, that
Wait.
actually makes a lot of sense.
That makes so much sense now.
I think that he did a solid job directing this one. I think John Chu directed the last one, right?
Oh, Ethan, I need to do homework before this.
All right, you get homework pass this time around.
Yes.
But yeah, I believe John M. Chu directed the last one. And so, very different directing style, and going from that to, Fleischer style, I think it transitioned fairly well. And overall, between the performances, the great cadences of all these actors and their chemistry, and a great sequel, which it's hard to say a lot of times, sequels 50-50, but here I think we have a successful sequel in a franchise that has a lot of room to grow, and this is a more than welcome entry into this franchise. I think it's gonna perform well. I enjoyed it for what it was, and for that, I will give it a 7 and uh, I'm tossing term
Mhm.
between a 7 and an 8 because, is silly. Like, if you're going into this movie not expecting anything from the previous, or you haven't seen those other movies,
Mhm.
you might be a little lost here and there. So this might not be the best jumping off point. But if you're going in that way, you get like I would give this movie a 6 out of 10 for that kind of viewer.
Yeah.
For me personally, who has seen those previous entries and enjoyed them, I gotta give it a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Alright,
Probably 7.
there we go.
Yeah. So guys, that is Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It was such a fun time for Amory and I, and, our mutual friend Cheyenne, who has been on the show before
Yeah.
with, what was it?
Only
Lonely Murders.
murders.
Yeah, there we go. And, it's just such a blast. I think it's definitely one you should go see with your friends, especially if you've seen the other two movies.
Mhm.
It's such a fun time. Whether or not you want to have the fragrance of marijuana, that's up to you. However you plan to enjoy this movie, our take, but let us know your takes on our tapes in those comments down below. And with that, Amory, I think that about does it.
Let's disappear and wrap it.
All right. So we're going to do those in that order. So All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Cassette Take. We hope you haven't ejected and disappeared thus far into the podcast, but whether you have or haven't, please don't forget to rewind. I've been Ethan,
I'm Marie.
and closing sesame.